Gather round, boys, gather round, because in today's Guns of Modern Warfare 2 IRL vid, we're not just talking about another handgun, we're talking about a legend. The breaker of wrists, the bane of watermelons, the maker of men, the most powerful handgun ever produced. Wait, what was that? What do you mean they've made more powerful handguns? And they make this shit look like a 22? What's up, guys? Skip You Africanus here, and in today's video we're going to be going over the Basilisk from Modern Warfare 2, or as it's known in real life, the Smith & Wesson Model 500. This revolver, or more specifically its cartridge, surely catch eyes given the massive size, loud bang, and heavy-hitting recoil. And of course, being marketed as the most powerful handgun certainly doesn't hurt sales for this monster of a revolver. So what exactly is this thing? Why does it exist? What's it actually used for aside from total watermelon death compilation vids? And most importantly, for this handgun, is this really the most powerful handgun currently in existence? Let's get into it. The Smith & Wesson is an absolute beast of a revolver, weighing anywhere from 3.5 pounds on the smaller models to nearly 5 pounds on the larger models. Which normally you wouldn't want such a heavy handgun, but given the sheer amount of kick-ass this cartridge is going to unleash as soon as that primer is struck, having a weightier handgun is definitely not a con here. And of course, to further add with recoil reduction, most variants will also feature a compensator. The smaller, that's like a 2-inch barrel one, if I remember correctly. That one tends to not come with a compensator. They're just trying to keep it compact. But for the most part, you're going to get a compensator or a brake to help with recoil. The revolver itself holds 5 rounds total, which was actually done deliberately over having 6 in order to increase wall thickness of the cylinder. Because, well, I don't think I really need to say why, to be honest. I think it's kind of obvious when you look at the cartridge. The revolvers are both double and single action, meaning you can pull the trigger with the hammer down, like how you can do on this PX4, or you can cock the hammer like this to allow for a much lighter trigger pull. Which, side note, the recoil from these guns is so intense that people have actually flat out fucking domed themselves due to that double action trigger. Like, I'm not even kidding on that one. You can look it up yourself with the... Like, they'd have a fully loaded cylinder, fire their first shot, the gun would then do like a hardcore flip backwards, and what I assume was done as an effort of like trying to get the thing under control, they'd accidentally pull the trigger a second time while it's aiming at something it really shouldn't be. AKA their head, which I gotta add, obviously, that shit's sad, don't get me wrong, but in a way, it is kind of funny that the fucking thing is capable of doing that. Like, now granted, this is not at all a common issue. It is something that has certainly happened, and it's happened more than once, but it's not common at all. It's more the result of, like, super green shooters doing shit like they really shouldn't be doing. Like, you know, at least try a 44 mag before you play with this thing. Anyways, back to the revolver. Why exactly does this thing exist, though? Like, why did Smith & Wesson one day be like, you know what, this 44 Magnum just ain't busting, B? Like, my wrists still work after shooting it. Let's fix that. Now, while the revolver itself does have actual legitimate uses with it, we will get into that later. The actual reason for this thing's creation was simply to make the most powerful handgun on the market. Like, that's it. That is the actual reason why this thing exists. They really just want to have that title back of having the most powerful handgun on the market. And of course, you know, there might have been a little bit of just wanting to have bragging rights, but we all know the main reason that people do a lot of stuff like this, and it is for money. Your handgun having the title most powerful handgun in the market is definitely going to boost sales. It helped with the 44 Magnum for the longest time. Like right after Dirty Harry dropped back in the 70s, people were flooding to get 44 mags because of the classic line, most powerful handgun cartridge in the world, or something of that nature. And as soon as this thing dropped at the 2003 SHOT Show, and, you know, carried that eye-catching title, the most powerful handgun, it sure as shit took off. Hell, I'd venture to say that around 95% of this gun's popularity comes from that title of most powerful handgun. Though that does beg the question, does this handgun still truly hold that title of most powerful handgun? Well, before we get into that, let's talk about what this thing actually is used for, because despite the real reason for this handgun's creation, it did find its way to being quite the handy little hand cannon. Now, obviously, I don't think this will come as a surprise to literally anyone on this planet, like even the average iFunny user, which is the lowest of the low on the intelligence scale. Like anyone, no one's gonna be surprised at all to hear that this thing is, of course, not used in combat and has never been used in combat. It's an obvious, I understand, but you know, I just felt like I would add that. Like, I usually even look stuff up like this, like, even if it seems obvious, just to double check and make sure that all the info I deliver to you guys is like 100% accurate. But I'm gonna be honest, like with this statement in particular, I just flat out didn't even look it up. Like, I mean, to me, like, that, you know, that whole little like question, I guess to say, is like, It's like asking what color the sky is. Like, obviously it's blue. There is no way in hell that a military, police force, whatever, actually uses this. Just wanted to get that out of the way. These are not used in combat, despite what we're doing in Call of Duty here today. But all that being said, I am very glad they added this gun to this game, because I think it is very badass to be able to dual wield some 500 Smith & Wesson Magnum. Anyways, though, with that out of the way, what is this gun actually used for? It is mainly used for big game hunting. The cartridge itself is rated to take down every single animal in North America.
Minus your mom.
And to add to that, even some large African game. I did hear it could and has taken down elephants, and while I will make mention of that, I'm not entirely certain on the accuracy of that statement that I saw. So just note that, yeah, take it, I guess, with a grain of salt. When we do the video on the 500 Smith & Wesson cartridge specifically, I will be sure to look into it, but, it certainly is capable of taking down all North American game, that's for damn sure. And this makes it handy, of course, as like a hunting revolver, as well as a backup gun, like something you would take into grizzly territory. Which is why, aside from the longer barrel models, they also make, or did make, short barrel models to make the gun compact, or as compact as a gun chambered in this could be, that is. Which, speaking of chambering, I've been routinely questioning throughout this video on whether or not this gun still truly holds the title of the most powerful handgun. And the answer to that question is no. Now, okay, technically this is the most powerful handgun that's produced commercially. The more potent stuff really only exists in custom-made firearms that the average Joe really isn't going to be buying, or rather having made for them. That being said, though, there are cartridges that are not just like a little more powerful, but full-on twice the power of this. One example being 500 Bushwhacker, which we won't go into this video, but just looking at this thing, yeah, I frankly don't think much more needs to be said. I mean, remember, this is your standard 500 Smith & Wesson Magnum cartridge. This is a 44 Magnum cartridge, and this is your standard 9mm. This is 500 fucking Bushwhacker. Anyways, I think that is gonna do it for this short little video on the Basilisk from Modern Warfare 2. Or, as it's known in real life, the Smith & Wesson Model 500. I hope y'all enjoyed the video as much as I personally enjoyed making it, and I hope to see y'all again in the next Modern Warfare 2 gun in real life video, because as I routinely mention, we are doing every single gun in this game.